I will.
Okay, and we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
And I just going to close my YouTube tab here so we don't have back feed. So, hello, everybody. Before we jump into anything, we'll wait a few minutes and but we got quite a few people here already. Of course, Rem was first.
Of course.
And let me see who else we got. Oh, hi, Tanya from Micro Homesteading with Jake and Tanya. She's my new best friend who we've never met in person, but and let's see. Oh, Jean's here. Hi, Jean. Thanks for dropping by. And of course, Mary Lynn is here. And oh, my little Kentucky Homestead. Is that one of you guys's subscribers?
No.
Oh, maybe it might be a new one for me. I doesn't always tell you everybody's name when you get a new one.
No,
it doesn't. Welcome.
Welcome.
So, and I think we're caught up. So have everyone's week going. I know Angie's isn't going too great.
Is it ever lately? I was just gonna say, I'm doing okay. I don't know if Stephanie heard. I crushed my hand in the log splitter.
Oh,
ouch!
So it's been doctors and stuff like that. So,
jeepers.
But other than that, like I'm still smiling. Woohoo! So that's good.
Now, is that smiling or is that meds?
No, I'm not. They didn't give me anything.
Oh, really?
Nothing.
No, wow. No. So, well, they gave me Tylenol and Advil together. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. So like you have to take you start by Advils and then a couple of hours you have to take Tylenol.
Yeah.
I just take Advil and I put Comfrey for the swelling.
Okay. So, is that helping?
Yeah, the Comfrey does help actually.
Oh,
it's good. I keep it in the fridge with some olive oil. Like I crush it up and put it in the fridge, and then I put it on, and it's like ice on my hand. So it's nice.
And are you seeing improvements since you got hurt?
No, it's just like I'll show it. So this is my regular hand, and then there's this hand. So all the swelling is like right here, and
I can see it. Yeah, in your finger, especially. Yeah, ouch.
And it just started bruising today, and it happened Sunday. So we'll I might get a bone scan tomorrow. It got infected though, so I only have 2 little wounds. So he said I have cellulitis in there, and so I gotta get it treated. So
hello, Rebecca, Touched by Yarn. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah, we have some great news. For the first time in our marriage, which we'll be married 29 years next month, we have no car payments. My car was paid off this week, so now we have none.
That is awesome.
Never had that, and boy, did they want us to get another car.
Oh God, I had the same thing. I finished my payment in February of this year. They've been harassing me like
we have one more year left. One more year left.
Yeah. Now, like same thing. I've never had no payments. Like
never. Even our crappy first car was still like a small loan payment. So,
it feels amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah, our Jeep was paid off in April, and then they were like, "You're going to do the buyout?" Because it was a lease, and I'm like, "Yeah, I've been saving my money because I knew this day was coming, so I want to do it." Yeah. And then I don't like my husband. He says, "I don't know what made me more." He said, "What made me angrier? The fact that the price of the warranty they tried to sell us." And I will say it was a great warranty. It really was. Like it even covered labor, which a lot of warranties won't. But it was going to be over $5,000 for this warranty. And we're like, we're just giving you how much money to pay off this lease, and you have the nerve. Or the fact that she just assumed, we were just going to put it on a credit card and walk out of there. Like he said, I don't know what made me angry, or the fact that she just assumed we'd do it, or how much it was.
I think I would be in the same position as your husband. Or maybe both. I mean,
we're getting a new roof on our house in a week or so. So we have that to pay for still. And I just said to her, I said, no. And I'm just taking some of the money we did do for the payment. My payment was very small on my car. I will say that. But I'm going to take some of that money and put it into a car repair fund. So if anything
course.
comes up, we'll have the money. So
That's what we're doing. I'm
Yep.
putting about a quarter of the payment for the high prices, like everything going on right now. So a quarter of that goes into, like, obviously the
Yep.
gas, the food, and blah, blah, blah. And then another quarter goes to fund repairs on the car. You have to do it because your car is getting older.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we have less than 46,000 kilometers on my car.
Nice.
So,
I'm
yeah.
close to 200,000.
Yeah, I mean, and the only reason it has so many lately is because gas got so high. My husband's been using my car for work,
Oh,
because it's better than the Jeep. But
of course.
I just want to say, Gene, my husband always says, he goes, it would be cheaper even if we had to get a car every year for around $2,000 and drive that for a year, and then when that quit, get another one. He said it would be cheaper than buying a new car. Like it's just the mindset that they've made debt so normal now. Like it's so normal to be in debt.
Yes.
And that's part of the problem.
Yes.
And it's normal for things to apparently be disposable. Like a car shouldn't last more than 3 years.
Yeah. So
Or like a fridge. Like when I tell my parents my fridge is, when I bought my house, I thought I had like a brand new fridge. Then to find out it was 10 years old. And it's 15 years old now. Sorry.
was that a moth?
I don't know. Now it's 15 years old, and we need to repair one of the electrical parts in the fridge, and it's costing me as much money to repair that part as buying a used one, like a 300, 500,
It's crazy.
maybe 5 years younger, 7 years younger than this one. So I'm like, well, I think I'm going to wait that this one literally breaks, and I'm going to replace it, because
my in-laws, their refrigerator they just had to replace was like 30 or 35 years old. I mean, and I've only been married not quite 29 years, and I think this is our 6th fridge.
Oh, wow.
They just don't. Our stove is 5 years old, and it's starting to act up, and I'm like, oh, please.
It's going to break on you in a batch of those cinnamon rolls that you're doing.
I already made a batch this week with my mom.
Okay, so you're safe for this week.
Oh,
just looking. Yeah, no, I mean, he said, it would be cheaper to buy a used car every year or two than to have a new one. I don't want to say never, because, then you get in trouble, but we definitely don't ever anticipate wanting to buy new again, like, and having those payments. Like, it's just, they're getting ridiculous.
Well, now, anyways, if you want a brand new car, you have about 3 to 9 months of a delay, depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And even in used car, you have to be patient. So it's not the time to buy either or used or new vehicles here in Quebec. I can't speak in Ontario, but here in Quebec, it's not the time.
Here, if you want a truck, you can go buy a truck like that right now, because that's all they
it's
have.
6 cylinders or a V8. People don't want it anymore because it's $2 a liter.
When Mike and I were driving back home yesterday, I noticed we drove by a Dodge dealership, and they just had Dodge and Jeep. They were loaded with cars, and I'm like, and vehicles, and I'm like, it's been so long since I've seen a full parking lot of like in a car sales place.
Here, all of our dealers, they all have trucks. Even Dodge didn't even have any minivans when we drove by the other day. They didn't have a single minivan. They've got so many trucks. I've never seen so many trucks. And it's like and then the used car lot, which is by the Chevy place, they are full right now of used trucks from like 2012, 2016, 2018, because it's costing them. I was talking to the lady the other day, and she said it's costing her $260 to fill her truck right now.
Wow.
Well, mine almost doubles. So if I had a pickup truck, I probably would have sold. Well, I don't drive, but let's just say I did work. I would have to sell it. Like, I calculated my gas and my salary from 5 years ago. Let's just say that I did not get a raise at all for 5 years. About 70% of my salary would have paid gas expense and like car repairs, oil change and stuff like that. Like between 50% and 70% would have paid for that. So I'm like, I can't work. Like it's like 45 minutes, no traffic to go to work.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's probably going to take me 45 minutes time too to go to work. So I'm like, there's no point.
Oh, that's something that happened to me this week. See, my hand clouded my judgment. I got a job this week, and so
congratulations!
Yay! On the 18th, but it's from home, so I'm so excited about it.
Oh, fabulous, Angie! That's great.
Yes,
wonderful.
It's I won't say where, obviously, but Darren from Thorhaven actually let me know that the place was hiring, so I applied.
Great!
Yeah, nice,
awesome.
I'm just looking right
working
here.
from home.
Holy moly!
Oh God, $6.20 a gallon. So you would have to divide that by 4.
Diesel. That, oh my gosh.
But diesel is expensive also here. Diesel is more expensive. Yeah.
That's probably about what our diesel is maybe converting to. I'd say.
Yes. Yesterday when we went to town, I went to get some do our grocery shop, and it was $1.82 for gas. That's the cheapest I've seen in a long time.
$1.82 tomorrow.
They took the Ontario took the tax off. The Ontario government took the tax off, but the federal government is refusing to take the tax and the carbon tax off.
Figures. Us, it's $1.95.
They told us, they said not to get comfortable. So it was $1.86 here yesterday when we got gas from my car. It's $1.90 today, and they did say don't get comfortable because they're saying by the 15th of July we're going to go back up to over $2 again.
Fill your jerry cans now.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, and tomorrow Ontario is supposed to go down more, so I don't know what it's going down, but
it lineups everywhere.
It was $1.82, and I was like, jeepers, I don't even need gas.
see what that makes you think. You think, oh wow, it's $1.80, and that's still too high. That's still ridiculous. But now we're like, so see, they're winning. They're winning.
Yeah.
It's gonna become the next toilet paper.
We paid $1.79 at Costco yesterday.
Nice.
So, but we have to go back tomorrow.
$2.99 a liter. Holy.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Wow.
Near Watson Lake. I don't know where that is.
Wow.
Yeah, I
would not even be able to go to work. $3 a liter. I
don't think a lot of people will. I really don't. So okay. Oh, and hi, Melissa. So all right. So tonight's live, we'll just jump in. Tonight's live is something that's been on my mind for a while, because I am a woman. And I know there's so many of us, who are homesteaders. And I thought, you know what, let's have a live from our perspective, because I think ours is unique, from a man's perspective. And there's a great round table with the guys, but I thought, you know what? It's our turn. So I'm calling us SheSteaders. That is the new hashtag that I've been using. So hashtag SheSteaders. So that's, I think I'm so clever. So
it is clever.
It's catchy. It can go.
Yep. So I think let's just say it. I don't want to say we do more, but we definitely bring a different perspective to homesteading. I think than I think we keep, especially inside, at least in our family, I keep the inside running a lot more.
I have to be careful what I say because Chris is sitting right over there.
Mine is sitting in the other room.
You have earphones in, Mike?
No. When the big eyes pop over the screen, you know you said something wrong.
Yeah. I'm actually, and I wanted to tell you that I will make each of you here in the live. I am going to make you each a sticker that says the SheSteaders.
Nice.
That's
I did. I was just going to say.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So I did. It's going to go on my.
I just see. Jean said she just got hers. So good. Everybody. Well, I had one that never sent me their address, so I'm glad they got out. But before we do jump in, I'm just going to have everybody introduce themselves. We'll start with Anny because you're right next to me here in the box here. So,
well, the obvious, my name is Annie. I am a Canadian in the province of Quebec. I have been homesteading since almost 5 years now. I'm a mom, stay-at-home mom of 3 kids, and I mostly do the homesteading on my own. And I come from a background that is not homesteading. I am suburban, so everything for me is trial and error. So epic failures turns out to be either success or lessons of life.
Yes.
I am in a village, and I have 15,000 square feet, so that's 1/3 of an acre. And everywhere that south is available for me, I have planted something. I use many techniques of gardening. I have raised bed gardens, I have in-ground gardens, and I also container garden. So that's pretty much it in a 1-minute resume.
I'm just putting this up here. Ren's Homestead, we should all get tattoos that say SheSteaders.
Okay.
Don't overthink it.
I'm up for it. And I'm just going to say real quick,
it's called
hi to
building
Mike.
a brand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Angie's other half there, as Mike is on. So I'm saying hi to Mike. So, okay. And so we'll go right to Angie next. You can introduce yourself.
So I'm Angie from MianU Acres, and I moved out to where I am now in Ontario back in 2019. We originally moved into an off-grid log cabin, and then August will be 1 year. We sold that cabin with 3 acres of our property and kept 9, and we're building a homestead currently. I didn't come from a background of homesteading. I think it's always been in my blood, though, because I've always wanted it. And so we're just trying to build our dream. I don't have any gardens right now. Unfortunately, it didn't get done in time this year, but I will have my dream garden next year.
Well, you have some raised beds that might build you.
Yes, but I'm actually got to go. Kendra from Plowman's Backyard offered me a spot in her yard to finish the gardening because the soil that was put in there, Mike doesn't know much about soil, and the soil that was put in there was more sand. So,
well, at least you have something.
Yeah, I'll have a little bit of something where I can grow at least a little bit. But I'm going to buy in bulk mainly this year. And so all our kids are grown, and we have 2 grandkids with another grandson on the way in September. And that's where we're at. So, yeah.
Okay. And Steph?
I'm Stephanie. Anything but Steffi works just fine. From HickoryCroft Farm. We're in Eastern Ontario. I think actually, other than Annie, I think the 3 of us are in Eastern Ontario.
Yes.
You're still considered East. Yeah, I wasn't sure, Lynn, if you were considered Eastern Ontario still. But anyways, we have a 38-acre farm, lots of livestock, gardens in every way you could imagine, and doing the typical thing of pushing ourselves potentially beyond what we're able to manage. But hey, if you're not doing that, then you're not homesteading. No, I'm just kidding. Because it sort of always feels like you're never catching up. But anyway, that's a for a later question. That's part of it, right? But no, we have 2 kids, age 9 and 11, and I don't know. Check out our channel if you'd like to know more.
Yes, absolutely. I encourage everyone to check out all these ladies' channels. They are fabulous. So I was subscribers before I was a subscriber before I became a friend. So
and, I think Marilyn shared all our channels.
Yes, she did.
At the beginning.
Thank you, Marilyn, for that. Just in case anyone's new here for me, my name is Lynn. Yes, I live in Ontario, Canada. I'm originally from Maine in the States, but I fell in love and married a Canadian. And we live on just under a little bit of 3-acre property. I wish we could use even more of it. We have what we call a lot of junk woods still to deal with, but that will be later. And I have 2 kids, Grace and Aiden. Grace is almost 19 and Aiden just finished up grade 9. He's 15. And my husband just retired from 30 years full-time military. It'll be a year next month. Wow,
he just retired?
Yeah, it'll be a year next month. And he currently works with the reserves. So he works full-time for about 9 months a year. And then he goes part-time for about 3 months. So the 3 months this year is going to be November, December, January. So we're going to be getting hopefully some renos done. Those 3 months.
It's already booked.
Never ends. It never ends. So yeah, our lists have list at this point. So.
Right.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. So, and I also was not raised with this, I guess we call it a lifestyle. I grew up, my mother's sitting over here laughing because no, my mom was a working mom, you know, and my dad worked, and we lived in a very small town, and my grandmothers had gardens that we would help with. I mean, you don't appreciate it when you're younger. Or at least I didn't appreciate it as much as I would have now. And they did some canning, but I didn't necessarily participate in that. So, so this is, my husband grew up on a farm. My husband's a farm boy. He grew up with all of it. Everything from llamas to horses to goats to cows, chickens, peacocks.
Peacocks.
They had peacocks at one time. So yeah, so he grew up in the lifestyle, but I don't know if he necessarily wanted to do it as an adult. So isn't it funny how life works out?
Right.
So I'm going to jump into my first question because I do have a few, and if we don't get to them all tonight, we'll just make a part 2 of the SheSteaders. So my first question is, do you feel like your roles are different in the different seasons versus what you have to do every day? And Annie, we'll go with you first.
Well, I don't really function in season. Like you said, my lists has lists. So obviously in the colder months, the projects inside the house gets done. But my husband works out of the house. So like we do what we can. During the summer, our mindset shift. Like we try to, like as soon as the soil is manageable outside, we have a century-old home. So we also have to renovate outside. So our focus goes like in the earlier months of the year, like February, March, April, when the weather's nice, we try to focus as much as possible on the outside. And then when the soil gets manageable, because we have like clay soil, that's when we work on homesteading projects. And like I only have them 2 days a week, which is Saturday and Sunday. And we have young kids, so we have to manage family time and all of that. The time of year where I almost don't exist is harvest season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 7 days a week, 7 o'clock in the morning till like 10, 11 at night. It's one priority after the other. So it's season, but like I go with what is required. My household always gets like pushed back on the back burner. Yeah. So if you want to come at my house, here's a tip. Tell me at least an hour. My house can be like semi-presentable and I can actually receive you because like there's so much I can do with 2 hands with my kids being in school, my husband being at work. So I'm not sure if that answers the question, but that's pretty much how I try to make my list that has lists work.
So,
Angie?
So we have yet to go through a full year of full homesteading because when we first moved up in the spring and there was a lot of work that had to be done to the cabin and we fixed it up mainly in the first year. So we had a small to medium sized garden, but it was more for picking daily and eating. It wasn't a harvest garden. But I do on a smaller scale until we are more established now. On a smaller scale, like we do have harvest season, we do have canning season. So basically tune everything out during that time. We have birthing season. Pretty much winter is, like Annie said, inside projects. Stay home more, definitely.
Cocooning.
Yeah. You don't want to go out on the roads when they're bad up here. But I still have to experience my first, I guess, big year of like, okay, I'm doing there's planting season too. I planted a lot this year, but it didn't get to the ground. But, there's all these seasons that I have started to shift in my mindset compared to when I lived in the city, but I still have yet to go through an entire year of all the seasons together. So, but I've experienced them all just in different years.
Yeah, but you're experimenting a build.
Yeah.
That'll make it great later. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, like
but,
you need to
your
have a
build
roof.
is still part of your daily even now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all year you've got the build that's been daily that is a homestead chore essentially.
Yep. Exactly.
I
And I
can't
mean, Angie, do you have farmers markets? Like, do you have a good one that you'll be able to utilize, or?
There is a small one about 25 minutes from here. We do have a berry farm that's not too far from here too. And they do tend to bring in some like of the local farmers' vegetables and stuff. So there's that, but not a big one, no.
Okay.
Do you have access to grossists? Like supermarket. I'm not sure if that's the actual translation in English. It's supermarkets orders from this place. And in Quebec, they have opened that to individuals. So I have one here that's about an hour from my house. And if I order $100, they ship to my house. Like last year, I ordered 12 cauliflowers, a full box of 25 pounds of peppers, a box of celery. And it was really affordable.
Yeah, there is something like that during like plant season, like seeds growing and everything. They have seed starts and stuff like that, and then they do go into a lot of produce. It's a I believe it's a Mennonite shop that's about 45 minutes from here.
That would be something interesting.
Yeah, like they have apples. They do lots of apples at the end of the year. So I do plan to get lots from there this year so that I can. And then my neighbors, they know, because they've been up here a while, so they know all the places, like to get the grapes, to get the peaches, so they know how to do all that bulk ordering. So I typically go through them. And then, so that's what I'm going to be doing this year.
I'm sure you're going to find, like with the community you have built, I'm sure you're going to find some stuff to can.
Oh yeah. They've all been wonderful. So
good.
Yep.
Great. Steph, I know you have a very busy homestead. So do you find like your obviously your chores are different daily from the seasons?
Yeah, well, I mean, day-to-day chores, if you take morning is usually 2 hours of doing all the chores. Sometimes that includes a little bit of weeding, things like that, but mostly that's looking after animals and just general running around. And then the evening chores are pretty quick because we do as much as I can in the morning because Chris works, obviously. So evening, he can help me. But then you've got like that middle period where, and I'm going to just touch on this. Annie, your house must be pretty good to be an hour. I'm like,
I know. I was thinking an hour.
I have a 2-story high house, so
and
I'm not talking about the bedroom. I'm talking about the living area.
Even after 3 hours, I'm going to say, please come in with blinkers on. Don't look to the sides, because like the first thing you walk in is the kids' room either side, and I'm like, I don't clean my room, so how can I be hypocritical and be like, clean your room? But anyway, so yes, that definitely, as you say, like the housework isn't even in that because I'm not sure where you fit that in all the time. But anyways, the same thing as what Angie was saying. And Annie, we've got, you've got canning season, you've got harvest season, lambing season. There's all these things that kind of seem to fill those extra hours in the middle of the day all the time and never really seem to all get completed. Like you said, the ongoing list. But it's still super enjoyable and worth it and lovely. But it certainly is seasonal on that side. The spring and summer and kind of September, I'd say, are absolutely manic crazy around here. And then, like you say, winter, I can turn to doing my quilting and spinning and things like that, which I still feel pressure because I need to do those things. And, so it's still it feels a little bit like work because I want to get them done. But at the same time, they're kind of more laid back, relaxed, sit in an evening and do it. So it's not so bad once the nights start drawing in and you can actually, be like, oh, 4:30, it's dark. I can't do anything more outside.
Yeah. I do enjoy that at first, only at first.
At first,
and then it gets old.
In October and November, usually, this is something I find really hard in like I talk about it on my channel. Like I'm go from March till like September-ish. And then after that, I'm like so used of being like overkill busy that I'm like, I'm exhausted, but I'm like, I'm so used to that, like that beat of go, then I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So I have like to teach myself again that it's the time to like, okay, I have to focus down, move down, like, and like relax, work on my knitting projects, my crocheting projects, and like stuff I haven't had time to do inside the house. But like, I have to re-educate myself that, okay, now it's downtime. I have to relax. I have to like learn to like go with the flow.
I think that's the hardest part, because like you said, you're so busy that, and sometimes it feels overwhelming for me at least. But then it comes to a point where you're like, oh wait, well, what do I do all day now?
Yeah.
I'm giggling at Remy's comment there, because Remy's the only person who has ever entered the deep dark parts of the house.
No, I have.
No, but did you go to our bedroom?
No.
Remy? No, that sounds really bad. But to see the fish tank. It was a fish tank.
I didn't get that opportunity, Stephanie.
And it was like, please just put blinkers on. Just put blinkers on.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Mike is actually like going down the rabbit hole of like going
so
in
he's
Steph's
like,
room.
wait, we did what?
Mike, calm down.
Yeah, that if somebody walked in right at that second, they might have misinterpreted that. But yeah, I mean, I'm lucky that I have an older child still at home, so Gracie picked up the slack for me for the housework, but it was still like it still wasn't my clean. So I couldn't wait to get all the plants out of the house so I could clean. Like I was so excited to set it all up and get them going, but boy, once May hits, I am ready for those to move on out. So I am gonna say we, like David, he still works full time through the week, and I have some limitations physically that I deal with, so I can't do as much as I want, so I do have to wait. But then I have the guilt because I feel like all week, like he works all week through the week, and then all weekend he's helping around here too with a lot of stuff, and I feel so bad. So I feel like we never have downtime. So we did take some time Father's Day weekend and had some downtime. I mean, I had to work that much harder. So I'm just reading.
I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat. And I'm just like, I should have really worded that differently.
And then I'm reading this. So yeah. We have a sweet potato production in your bedroom.
This show is going to be a classic, and it is also going to go like way further than the round table, I think.
Yep.
I think it already has, but
this is going to be all of their secrets are going to be revealed.
Yeah, I might have to hashtag that, secrets revealed.
Yeah, I have sweet potatoes in my bedroom.
Yep. And this is where we grow them all. They grow best in there. It's got the great.
As long as you don't say you have squashes in your bedroom, I think it'll be fine.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll try to get us back on track.
That might be hard.
This is a question I actually was talking to my husband about. So this one is one of the ones I feel, it is, as Annie said, I really went deep with some of these questions, and this is probably one of them. Do you feel like you have had to or continue to make sacrifices to have this homesteading lifestyle? We'll start with you, Annie.
Well, the sacrifice I had to do was more related to our personal life. We had a third pregnancy, and we were not even able to like enjoy our 2 kids. So I had to stop working. I had to make the decision that it was better for the family. So I'm not sure that I can classify that as a sacrifice, but I had to let go a career of 10 years and like kind of lose all of what I was used to and stay home. And then we had to find a way to replace half of my salary. So we had to cut, like, everything that was superficial had to be cut for a minimum of 3 to 5 years so that I can actually build the homestead. Like, I knew it was going to be between a 3 to 5 year journey. So everything that could wait was put on the back burner. So yes, it's a sacrifice, but it's also a journey for us. Like, it was a journey to become debt free. It was a journey to build a homestead. And it was a journey to actually, like, me finally doing something I was enjoying. I didn't know that I was going to enjoy homesteading because, like, I don't come from a background. Like, I had like a 10 by 10 garden with 6 tomato plants and 2 cucumber plants, and that was about it. So I had no idea what I was, like, getting myself into, to find out that I really enjoy doing this. So I don't really completely classify it as sacrifice. But along the way, I had to make some financial sacrifice because infrastructure costs a lot of money. And, like, being on a journey of being debt free, like, there are some years that I had some rednecks installations, and like Darren said this in one of his lives, like, you have to fix it like many times, and in the end it costs you more money, but it's what we could do with what we had.
Yeah.
So it is sacrifice, but it was necessary because of our situation. Right. Then what I would say, which is the biggest sacrifice, is I can't leave my house. Not because I'm homesteading. Like, I don't have anyone that is willing to come farm sit for us.
Yeah.
So for me, that is the biggest sacrifice that we have to do. Like, we could leave, like, maximum, like, in the morning, we do all our chores, we do everything we're supposed to do, and then, like, leave around 10 o'clock, go somewhere close, sleep over somewhere, and then pass the entire day, and then be back at nightfall, and then, like, do, like, a quick like, chores, and then the animals will probably be fine. But, like, 2 days, I think it would be pushing it. Like, you don't know what can happen in 48 hours. So that's my biggest sacrifice.
For me, when I moved out here in 2019, I literally came to see the homestead, the old cabin first. I literally came to see that, and then I went back to work the next day, and of course I didn't say anything because we didn't know what we were going to do, and I got my dream career offered to me. And so when we first moved up here, that was a really big sacrifice, and I didn't know, am I making the right choice? But it turns out we did. And so another big sacrifice that was hard then, and it's hard now, is our kids are all older, so they're everywhere. And so like the grandkids, so we used to live about maybe 7-8 minutes from where they are, and so they would just pop in. I miss that, and I wish that I could have raised them in this type of environment, and I really miss that. So but I did read Mike's comment, and apparently it's a nothing for him. So he said we had 4 kids, and I'm not sure I enjoyed any of them. So
yeah,
but that's my sacrifice. And then we are very blessed in our area where if we had to go to a doctor's appointment 3 hours away just yesterday and tomorrow. And so we have a friend that we do it back and forth for each other. And so they will let our dogs out once or twice, and same with them. And then if they want to go away for a week, we watch their animals. And I don't know what I just said, if I even said that correctly, but vice versa. So if they want to, we farm sit for each other. And so, but yeah, I haven't really been away. Mike he's had to make trips to Michigan. So, but I haven't had to really go away yet. But so those are the biggest. I think the kids and the grandkids and all of us not being in the same town kind of thing, right? That's really hard. But I'm also looking at it like I'm exposing them to a lifestyle that is, I think it's growing now, but when I made the decision to come here, it almost seemed like it was kind of fleeting, and I wanted them to have that experience. So the kids and the grandkids will get it because we chose to come out here. So it's a give and take. There's benefits and pluses or negatives to everything, right?
And the little ones must love coming out and visiting.
Oh, they do. Yes.
Yeah.
Except my oldest grandson, Tyler, one day his dad, our son, was driving him here, and they were coming to spend the weekend. And one day he says, "Oh, Grandma and Papa, they live so far away." So now that's what I'm known as, Grandma from far away.
And far away.
Yeah. Grandma, your house is so far away. And so if he's like, my son or my daughter-in-law says, "Oh, Grandma's on the phone, Grandma," and then he'll mention the other grandma's name, or Grandma from far away. And that breaks my heart. But he's also 5. So
yeah.
But we do see them often. So
that's good. That's
good. Ren said something interesting. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no. Which one?
The last comment, the leap of fate. It is terrifying. I'll be honest. Like letting go a good salary, 4-week of vacation, like a pension plan, the eyes, the teeth, and everything.
Yep.
It's a massive leap of faith. But if you can replace 50% of your salary and sacrifice in the first 3 years, and you enjoy what you're doing, obviously,
right,
the leap of faith is worth it. But like, you need to realize you can't have this lifestyle, like have the cake, the icing, and the cherry on top. Like, you have to start with the cake, and the icing is going to come later, and then the cherry is going to come like many years down the road. As long as you can like understand that concept, you can do the jump. But if you can't, you might hit a wall very fast.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Steph, before you answer the question, I wanted to ask, do you come from a homesteading background at all?
Well, I've always lived rural. My parents had a horse farm.
Oh,
okay. We lived out in Manitoba, and we did rodeos and things like that. So we were big into horse showing and things like that. They always had, like, we always raised out, some pigs or a cow or a couple chickens or things like that. Basically, my family was quite big on the bartering. So we tended to get animals in exchange for services or things like that. Or boarding somebody's horse or, things like that. So we always kind of had that, but it was never on a big scale. I mean, my parents both worked full-time jobs, and we didn't garden. It was pretty much, your mass-produced food from the grocery store. We had a lot of craft dinner, things like that. It still had that. You still had rural life and responsibilities and things like that I think helped mold me into a person that can appreciate this and understands, the importance of it, even if they didn't take it to the level that we do now.
Right. And do you feel like, have you had to make sacrifices to have your, I mean, I hate using that word, but
it's really hard because it's one of those, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice because of all the benefit that comes from doing it.
Yeah.
Now, saying that, I'm kind of not the same because I'm trying to think of my age here, but for 22 years, I've never worked a job. I mean, that sounds really, really bad, but I had
you worked, but
whether it was farming or I had my own business, like I did my art studio and I sold art and crafts and things like that. So it was always home based at my pace, that kind of thing. So I was able to do other things. So I don't really feel I've sacrificed that because that's still there. I just have to figure out how to make time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the only thing I would say, tying in with everybody else, is that fact of you have no freedom, especially with the amount of livestock that we have. We can go somewhere, like we have a cottage. It's about an hour and 10 minutes away. And my parents come from Manitoba and they stay at the cottage. And we can go at 10 o'clock. If we can get the chickens to all get put away, or not 10 o'clock, sorry, at 4 o'clock, we can go as long as all the chickens will go. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we can go for dinner. We can stay overnight, but then we got to be back here for 10 in the morning to do chores again. So it's not, you don't get that real kind of getaway feel. And sort of that same thing. We have such a large enterprise that most people would shy away from saying, yeah, I'll come look after that.
Right.
So
You'd
it's
have to have an intern.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I aspire one day to be like Roots to Refuge or something, where it's like, oh, somebody wants to be like us. So let's like have a little thing, and people can come and stay on the homestead and be like,
Yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
think in the United States it's something that's very common, interns. In
No.
Canada, it's not something that is publicly normal or announced. So
No. The one that we get a lot is people from school, like that need to get hours. They ask about,
Yes.
can we have a
Yeah.
student? And I said in future, once we get the gardens going better and things like that, I'd like to look into it because I'm sure there's insurance things with that. But
Yeah.
that's a great way, especially when they're trying to get their hours in May and June before the end of school. Right? It's perfect for having an intern to come and help, or like a student, but they're getting their hours and everything. So I've got to look into that because I've been approached 2 or 3 times now about it, and I've always shied away because I think for insurance you have to do stuff. So
yeah,
I will say Aiden got a majority of his hours by watching after a friend's chickens last summer.
Okay.
That they live very close to us, and he was able to get and their son will look after our chickens. So,
Okay.
and to get his hours. So that worked out for us.
You don't need anything specific then. It probably isn't as much as I'm overthinking it.
No,
probably.
I don't think so. Yeah. And I mean, we do not have nearly as large of enterprise as you and Chris either. We have chickens, and I'd be more worried about I worry about my chickens, but I want to make sure my garden gets watered, if it doesn't rain for 3 or 4 days. But, and I'll say sacrifice for lack of a better word. I don't like to say it's a sacrifice either because I enjoy being a stay-at-home mom. I love it. I love being home when my kids walk in the door and I'm here. I did work a full-time job, 45 hours a week, and I was exhausted. I'd come home at 5:15 and get supper going. We wouldn't eat supper till about 6:30. I'd usually get a little laundry in. And then when the summer come, trying to do my garden too. Like I wouldn't be able to get to the garden until late in the evening, and it would get away from me and things. And but if I went back to work, well, one, like you said, we'd have benefits again because the military has horrible, horrible benefits. I'm grateful we've got what we have, but it's certainly not the greatest. We'd have the benefits, and we probably could have a lot more stuff. But
is it necessary?
Is that really that important? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then we'd be able to have maybe a nicer, home maybe, or I'd be able to do more, but it's not what we want. I mean, at the end of the day, getting cancer for me, it was getting cancer the first time 10 years ago that made me realize, okay, what do we want? It wasn't that I wasn't happy with the lifestyle we had, but I knew there was something more we wanted, and I knew we wanted something different. So I hate to use the word sacrifice too, but there are definitely maybe things we have to give up that some people might think are a sacrifice. We might not necessarily think it is.
The outsiders of our lifestyle probably sees our lifestyle as like a Mount Everest of sacrifices.
Yeah.
But for us being in it, head in.
I've wanted this my entire life, and so I've only been in it 3 years, and I'm not tired of it. And I think what other people, I remember somebody, I can't remember what it was for, but I remember someone saying to me, that's so much work. And I'm like, I don't look at it as work, though. It's weird. There are some things that are like, ugh, do we have to do this? But for the most part, for me, it's not work. I don't know. It is work, but it's not.
I know it's work, but it's work you enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could play in the dirt all day and garden all day if I had one.
If only we could get paid to garden all day, then my life would be perfect. And it's like I said to my mom today, because we got rain finally for the first time yesterday, all day, and the garden just exploded today. And I went out and I said to my mother just this afternoon, I said, I hope I'm always this excited when I start seeing the baby peppers are a little bit bigger, and the tomatoes all have flowers. And I hope I'm always that excited, because I hope I'm always that excited to see food growing. Like, I really hope I never get, not get excited. And the whole neighborhood knows, oh, Lynn must be growing something because she's out there all happy.
Well, the one thing too is as you get it going, as you get it going, whether it's gardens, whatever on your homestead, in the end, it saves you money. I mean, yes. Chris and I are at that point now. Granted, we're 14 years in, but we're floored. We save, even with feeding all of our animals and tracking everything that we spend at grocery stores, eating out, we still spend $5,000 less than the average family of 4 does in a year. And that's feeding our animals and having the healthy lifestyle that we do, and the exercise and no gym memberships, and the list goes on of how you could save money too. So
there's nothing like Homestead Fit.
Exactly.
I've said this several times in our lives before, but I remember when we lived 45 minutes east of Oshawa, or we were in Oshawa, 45 minutes east of Toronto. And so it was quite busy there. And I was always bored. I'm never really bored here. There's always something to do. It's meant for me, I guess, or us, I should say. It's not to say if it's not your passion, you can't do it. You could totally do it, even if it's not your passion. But I've always wanted this kind of life.
I honestly think it's a passion. I feel like it's a passion too for me, because that's why you want to share it, because you have a passion, you want to share it. Yes. But for me, I found that I was angry a lot when we lived where we used to live because of neighbors and issues with that, and and dealing with that. And I didn't realize how angry I was till we moved out here, and we didn't have to deal with a lot of that. So to me, if you want to call it a sacrifice, fine, but to me, it's that alone is worth the sacrifice. I'm a lot happier and a lot less stressed and a lot less anxiety. Not to say I don't still deal with that, but it's certainly a lot. Yeah.
It minimizes it a little bit, right?
Yes. Yeah. Because there's nothing like being in nature to help bring your stress level down, at least for me.
Well, there's nothing like a weeding session.
Yeah. I'm just gonna
sometimes I can start weeding. Okay, I'm just gonna do it for 5 minutes, and then an hour later, I'm like, what? And weeding is not something like, woohoo, I'm weeding, yay.
I still hate weeding. I will say the raised beds have made weeding much, much better. They still have some, but it's a lot better. So I'm just gonna
it makes it better for sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Ren dropped their GoPro in the pool. They have no camera right now. No. And using Canadian statistics on the cost to feed a family. Yeah. And I honestly think those statistics are off. So I think we actually save a lot more. I'm interested to see this year, because this year is the biggest garden we've ever done. So
you have David in the back.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, you are not a woman, so you can't stay.
You must leave. You are banished.
Yeah. And I'm just looking. I see. Go away. Honest to gosh. Yeah, he thinks he's funny, but he's not. I see it as a trade-off. You trade some comforts for your time. I used to spend 60 hours at a job traveling, and now I get to enjoy my time. Yeah, that's it, right? And that comment, like he said, like Mike was saying, how I know what he means. Like he said, he was so much working, he couldn't enjoy the kids because he was doing, 60 hours a week. And, we found that because my husband was on tour or away on a trip so often, he missed out on a lot. Yeah. So I'm just saying, but you know what they say, you can't eat the grass, but you can eat the weeds, or some of them anyways. That's true. People who want to talk to me and questions about other than that, I'm not talking much. So yes, it's hard, but it's fun too. Yeah, I
get that comment a lot when people come at my house. Like they know that I do this mostly 90% of my own. The animals, I get some help, but the garden, it's mainly me. And they look at my house and they're like, they look at my backyard and they're like, you do all of that? Yeah. Is it you start mostly everything by seed? I'm like, well, I only bought, I think, 10 plants this year. And that includes the comfrey plant I bought at
I can't say that.
And then I bought, I think I bought 2 plants at the conference. I received the plant from Angie. I received the plant from Patrick. So that makes 4. And like I got like little parts here and there. So I would say like under 20 plants. Like usually I would buy a lots. But they're like, you started everything by seeds. Like you took every single seed and you uppotted it. And now I'm like, yes. Like, why does it seem so
I will
weird for me to
I will say I didn't buy a lot for my garden. I mean, some things got, the cold snaps we had there, the end of May, beginning of June. I did replace a few things and some things, but I bought a lot more plants this year.
That's mostly what I bought, flowers this year.
Yeah. I haven't bought anything in over 2 weeks, so
the night's not over.
What we did buy. We bought herbs because I lost my chive patch this year and I didn't realize it and then it was just like, I'll just buy some more chives and throw them in and they'll be there for a few more years again. And then rosemary, we bought a plant because we kill it every year. We try to bring it in and keep it alive and it never ever stays alive.
No,
so we bought another one and then
either.
try again. But really, I think herbs are about the only thing that we had to buy this year. And then we did buy black currants because we want to build up our fruit around the farm.
Yeah, I bought blueberries and I did buy quite a few herbs this year because I couldn't find seeds for some of the ones I wanted to grow. So with me, rosemary is a hard one for me, but this is my 3rd or 4th year trying lavender.
I finally got one seed I got a few, but only one plant made it. I've got my first ever lavender plant. So do you put yours in the fridge?
Mm-hmm.
Your seeds, Lynn?
I put mine for 3 weeks in the fridge.
I didn't. Is that what you're supposed to do first?
Yeah. The lavender needs stratification.
Yes.
Last year I tried
didn't do that.
freezer. Last year I tried 2 versions.
Yeah.
I did freezer and I did directly sown. Freezer was an epic failure. In the directly sown, I think I sowed 10 seeds. I think I had like 2-3 plants. That's it.
We did a little tray, one of those little flat trays of 9, little black ones with the things. I didn't even read anything about how to do it. We just put 9 seeds in a tray and 4 of them came up. So that was pretty good.
Oh, that's pretty good.
But
yeah, I actually have never done it from seed. I actually buy mine because we have several. We're in our area. We actually have lilac farms. We have several of them.
Okay.
And
I had better luck with my
grow
fridge.
it, I can. So I keep buying it, and I plant it, but it never comes back, and I've never really gotten flowers off of them. So
it'll be interesting to see if they survive. That'll be the big thing because they're out in the garden now. So hopefully they survive.
Okay. All right. This is a good one because this is the one I have struggled with. I feel this is a good one. This is one I have struggled with. It's do you find it difficult to live with modern expectations? For example, being the homemaker, scratch cooking, or stay-at-home mom, or just living simply. Do you find that not even society, friends, family think you're crazy? Like, do you find it hard to what a man is supposed to be with this lifestyle too? Do you find that hard? I'll start with you, Annie.
I don't feel pressure from the outside because I try not to let the Instagram perfect mom or Instagram perfect chicken reach me because I tried to do it and I can't. And I kind of lost myself in the process. So I let go of that. Like if you come here to see an Instagram perfect house, an Instagram perfect backyard, you're not at the right place. This is who I am. My house is a mess. I'm a hot mess. So this is what you're getting. And my friends think I'm literally cuckoo. When I told my best friend of 20 years that I was quitting my career to be a stay-at-home mom with 0 income, I was in my early 30s. She's like, what the beep, beep, beep are you doing? That was her exact word. And then she's like, well, I hope you don't fail. So I was like, I didn't say anything, but it kind of hurt me. Like my good friend that I met in the village where I am now moved to Gaspésie, and when she was scared to tell me, and then at one point she sold her house and she told me, well, we're moving. I cried. So she thought I was like mad, but I cried because I was happy for her. Yes, I'm sad because I'm losing a friend that's like down the road, but I was super happy for her. And let's just say that she made a mistake and she doesn't like it. Well, it's not my problem. It's hers. The only thing I can tell her is go for it. It's your dream. I'm going to support you. I sent her off with like so many seeds. She's building her dream house, her dream farm. And I'm helping her translate because she's friends to build a flower farm. And she's in a different zone and I'm like helping her out. If she fails, I'm still going to support her. Mm-hmm. If she succeeds, I'm still going to support her because she's my friend. And I was hoping that my like young, like I met her when I was I think I was like in high school, like early high school. And when she told me, I hope you don't fail, I kind of got a punch in the stomach. And it kind of like, at first it made me hesitate. Am I taking the right decision? Mm-hmm. Like of quitting my job? And like, but then I realized it has to be done. Like there's no way possible that I can have 3 kids in daycare and then have 1 kid there, and then commute and then work 40 hours a week, do 10 hours of traffic and blah, blah, blah. Like the whole rat race. Yeah. But like I was going in like with my head down instead of my head high. So I kind of had to, like, I had a rough start on this lifestyle, but I don't regret it.
Yes. I think for me, same kind of thing because I used to work at the college. And so I had a lot of mixed reactions. Most of them were positive. Some of the responses were, oh, modern day pioneer woman, are we? And like, well, have you seen my stove though? Like that's how I would always answer it, right?
That's an epic stove that you want.
Yes, that one definitely, it was nice. But the one we're getting for this place is almost the same, but I can see the fire. So I'm looking forward to that. My family's all been very supportive. My mom was like, Angie, when I told her we were doing this, she's like, you've always been the girl that beats to her own drum. And so do it if it's going to make you happy. So for the most part, we had good reactions. Now what I find is like when I go into town, I don't know, it's weird because I'm not, it's going to sound bad, but when I go into town, I remember I always used to feel like I have to keep up with the Joneses when we lived in town. And now I'm not like that. I still have pride in my stuff, but I'm not like that. And so I feel like people look at us differently when we're in town. Like we're the outsiders now. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like that a little bit going into town. Like this used to be familiar, but it's not. But for the most part, no. And because I'm living a lifestyle I want, I wouldn't care either, right? If someone had something, you know what I mean? Like, come at me. Tell me my lifestyle is wrong. Yeah. But
but in the end, there's no lifestyle that is wrong. Like we're supposed to.
Everybody has their thing, right?
We're supposed to wake up in the morning and be happy. We're not supposed to wake up and be miserable.
That's
exactly.
I think for us, I mean, in a perspective of family, friends, that sort of thing, nobody would ever say anything to your face. I mean, they all kind of smile and nod and listen along when you talk, and that's great. They're supportive. They definitely, especially since starting the YouTube, they see it better. I think before YouTube, people thought we were absolutely bananas, and then when we started just showing everything, and they could actually, they were getting answers to questions they didn't even know to ask, if that makes sense. And they were learning more about why we were doing it and what we were doing, and it started to make sense. They still don't want to do it, but they they understand our reasons for doing it and are very supportive. But I think as far as general community, whether it is going down the road to the local fair and talking to people, or even your YouTube community or Facebook communities or anything like that, I think the one thing that we really find is we're very old timey. We move at it's a very slow pace, really, in a world that everybody wants results now.
Yes.
That's the huge thing for us is we can sit back and go, yeah, I can plant the seeds and I can wait for it to grow and I can weed it. And I know in the fall, I'm going to get this. Where, other people that we know just like, but why wouldn't I just go buy a bag of carrots?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't taste the same.
They want it now. They don't care what the quality is or what anything else or what that does for your lifestyle or what you learn, the skills you need. It's just that instant gratification of having it now. And I think that's the hardest part to really get people to understand is that you don't need that. I think we see it all the time with our kids. Our kids just, you get 20 minutes and then they want to bounce to something else because they're bored. And it's just like, just take time, just relax. Let's just go out and do it. And I think that's the part that we really find people don't get us is that, we don't want to just end what we're doing and rush off to town to do going out to the pub or whatever, that kind of thing. That's just not us. We enjoy the slow pace of sitting at home and puttering along. And yes, we eat at 9:30 at night because that's just what works for us. And if you don't like it, that's too bad.
Right.
Well, we're brought up for the
Mike's caught. Yeah, might have to take up smoking a corncob pipe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like Steph was saying, the instant gratification, like my generation and the couple of generations before me, and like all they have to do is like go to a store, buy it. Go to a store, I don't know, your phone breaks. Instead of trying to fix it,
doesn't matter.
You buy a new one.
Yep.
Your car breaks down. Instead of trying to fix it, they buy a new one. Or
buy a new one.
I have a cheese grater that those Staffrit cheese grater, like hand grater.
Yeah, me too.
I broke off the handle. And every time I have people over, and I have more than 10 people, I do spaghetti. It's super easy for me. The sauce can be done in advance. The only thing I have to do is bake 2 loaves of bread and boil pasta. So my brain is free to socialize with the people I have here. So I lost track of where I was going.
The cheese grater.
Yes. So they try to do the Parmesan with my cheese grater and there's no handle. They're like, why in the hell don't you buy a new one? I'm like, why? This one works.
It still works. It's still a tool that works.
It's $14 that I'm saving.
It still shreds cheese.
So they look at me.
You haven't found one at the secondhand store yet.
Well, I don't go. I don't have one near my house. But if I did find one at $2-3, I might buy a second one because I use it often. But seriously, why would I need a new one? I'm going to save that $14 for something that I actually need. It does not need to be changed. No. So the future generations are missing out. They need to step away from instant gratification and understand that there's work to be involved. Mm-hmm. If they want something.
And I just want to make a comment to Mike. David says this all the time. He said, no one ever has on their tombstone, I should have spent more time at work. Right? I should have worked more. I will say I struggled for a long time with expectations of what I thought I was supposed to be. I wasted a lot of my 20s pretending to be what I thought we were supposed to, because my generation is kind of started the generation where you can be anything you want. Girls can rule the world and all that. But the problem is we can be anything we want until it's this. And then all of a sudden, what do you mean you're going to be stay at home? What do you mean you make your own bread? What do you mean you can food and preserve it? And I'm like, that's what I choose to be. I'm not saying that's the kind of woman you got to be, but that's the kind of woman that I want to be. And I hate being called old fashioned. I'm like, no, it's just this is how I'm choosing to live. And when people would ask me, Lynn, are you going to go to school? And I would lie and say, I'm looking at classes and thinking about doing this because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I thought just being a housewife yeah, I thought that was the answer. And then I don't want to bring up the cancer again, but when I got sick, I thought, oh, nuts to this. Life is too short.
Yeah.
I'm going to start being the woman I want. And I say a lot that I'm too much for a lot of people. And a friend of mine said, I hate it when other women say that. She says, we're not too much. You know,
Really?
She says, this is who you are. You take it or leave it. But
someone actually told you that?
Oh yeah, I've been told that my whole life.
Really?
I've been told it my whole life. I'm too much. I talk too much. I have opinions too much. I am, I'm just too much. I've been told
okay, and if
whole life,
on the flip side, if you had like none of it, they'd say like you're
I'm like beaten down, or I have
like the flip side.
But yeah, I think we need to start, like, I mean, whatever a woman chooses to be, that's an empowered woman. Yeah. And if that is being a stay-at-home mom who homesteads and raises chickens and treats the chickens like they're her own children, and grows food and cans food and does a little happy dance when it rains because it means you don't have to water for 2 hours. Yep. And you look at your stockpile and think, I'm like, oh, I get tingles. I get goosebumps when I see all my canned goods lining up, because as Lindsay said, the apocalypse is coming. And I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be prepared this winter.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, okay. Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I was going to follow up with what Lynn had said. Like, I had my children very young. So Mike and I have a divided family, and I had my children very young. And I always felt like I had to make up for not them, but for all the mistakes, like way before them, all the mistakes I made as a teenager. And I always felt like I gotta go get my high school. I gotta go, I gotta get married. I gotta buy a house. I gotta do all these things. Now I gotta go to college. So I accomplished all those things. Very backwards, I might add. I had kids first, then I graduated high school. Then I got married. Then we bought a house, and then I went to college. And
but
so
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. But when I had my job at the college, and then I got offered, because I was contract, and then I got offered what I'd been working for my entire time as a contract employee, I'm like, there's something still missing. There is something still missing, and I am being who everybody else thought I should be. It's time for me to be who I want to be. And so yep. I think I was 30. Well, I'm 44 now. So yeah, I was 42 when we came up here. And although we've had struggles, we've had accidents, we've had surgeries, we've had a lot of tough times. I'm me now. And it's what I'm meant to be. And that's why I'm like, if someone doesn't agree with me, I don't have problem. Like, they can have their life and I'll have mine. That's fine. But I finally found, after 42 years and still learning, who I am. And that's an adventure.
And that is worth more than any money in the world that you could earn. I mean, it's just being happy with yourself. I mean, it's still a work in progress for me, but I'm trying to give up.
I was going to say, like, on that thing of like what you said about being too much, I said we like to view it that we just overwhelm people. It's not that we're too much, but we overwhelm people, because I think all of us are the same way. And that's a mindset of you're encouraged in this lifestyle, I think, to push yourself and keep pushing yourself. Right. And I think that's something that so many people that don't understand this lifestyle or want it don't get, because they just do what they must, and then that's where it ends. And we never do that. It's always pushing further and more. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, something where it's like, it's never too much. It's just that we overwhelm them.
For some people, it might be too much, but for some people, we might not be enough.
Yeah.
Well, we can't please everyone.
Yeah. That went out the door a long time ago for me.
Well, we were brought up like, you're supposed to be a good kid. You're supposed to go to school. You're supposed to have good grades. You're supposed to behave. You're supposed to listen to your parents, respect your blah, blah, blah. And then you're supposed to graduate from high school. You're supposed to go to college, get a degree, get a good job because you want, the big American dream. And then you have the job, you get married, you have kids. Everything was decided for us as
You're
kids.
supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be happy. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is what we're supposed to want. This is what we're supposed to do.
I was in high school. I can't remember if it was like the year before I was going to graduate or the year of my graduation. I had college or CJEPs that was in our schools, and I was looking through different possibilities. And up till 4 or 5 years ago, I still did not know what I wanted to do. And my father's like, how come you don't know what you want to do? Like, you don't want to be a businesswoman like I am? You don't want to, like, the only thing that interests me was the military school. And my father's like, you can't be in military school. So I didn't go to military school. And my dad had this big vision of me being a doctor or dentist. I hate French, I hate English, and I hate math. So I'm like, how in the hell how am I going to be a dentist or a doctor if I hate school and I flunk most of these things? And I can't be a doctor if I'm not good in school. And I'm like, you have to be passionate to be a doctor because the hours are ridiculous. If you want to be a dentist,
and don't get me wrong, if a woman wants to be a doctor, I support that 100%. Go for it. It just, it's just funny how it's okay to say that, but when you want to say, well, I don't, there's something wrong because I didn't have those big dreams. I never did. But I always felt like there was something wrong with me because I'm a modern woman and I'm supposed to want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, some kind of profession, and I would always lie even at 13, 14, 15, because I knew if I said, well, I want to get married and be a mom and be a housewife and take care of my family, I knew what kind of reactions I was going to get. Oh, aren't you sweet? Or, so,
I was like, to pay the bill.
Yeah, I had, I'd always, same with you, Lynn, I'd always beat myself up because I'm like, even when I went back to school in my late 30s, I was like, I still don't know what I want to take. I'm a person of all kinds of different things. I don't have one singular focus. And I used to beat myself up because I'm like, why can't I be that person that's like, I want to be a nurse, or I want not necessarily like even a higher degree, just I want to do one thing. And then I realized throughout all of my careers, what my favorite thing to do in all of them was help people. So that's my career. And so, so that's the way I had to look at it, or I did.
Yeah. I'm 40. When I turned 40, turning 40 was hard for me. And I didn't think it would be. And partly it was because I looked around and I'm like, what have I done with my life? Like, what have I, because, and it certainly wasn't anyone, like my husband wasn't making me feel that way, but, it was like, the outside forces making me feel like I didn't have, that success that you're supposed to have. And I can finally say at 47, I'm happy. This is, if this is what my legacy is, and I'm proud of that. I hope I'm showing my daughter that whatever it is, if you want to do it, it's okay. You don't have to. If you don't want to go to college, you don't have to. If you do want to, great, wonderful. If you want to have a career, but I'm going to just say, and I have friends who are professionals, they said something sacrifices no matter what you do, whether you're stay at home or you have a career, something is getting sacrifice. And I think we'd be fooling ourselves to think it doesn't. I just, I see it. They either sacrifice time with their kids or my mom missed all my stuff through school because she worked full time and couldn't have the time off to come see something that was during the day at school. If it was evening, it was one thing, but if it was during the day, she missed all that. Yeah. And I remember I can remember being that 8-year-old looking out in the crowd and not seeing one of my parents there.
Oh.
I remember that feeling, and I promised if I have kids, I'm not going to feel that.
I have events at my kids' school. Like in our village, we have like one school that's divided into 3 because we're small villages. So they regrouped 3 schools and made one. I have one kid going in my village, 2 kids going in my village, and one in the 20-minute later village. And I have at least 1 visit per week at each school. And it's during the day. And for my youngest, it's someone has to be there. If it's not me, it has to be someone else. It's mandatory because he's in pre-K. And in kindergarten, same thing. If there's a parent thing going on in the school, someone has to be there. So I told my husband, how do parents do this? When you have young children, how do you manage to have a career and be present in those mandatory activities in school?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you miss work, I remember when I was working and I told my boss, well, sorry, my son has fever. I have to stay home. Well, oh, really? You have to stay home? Why can't you bring your kid at work? I'm like, are you serious? I'm going to bring a sick kid at work. Well, obviously now with COVID happening, they're not going to ask me to do that. But before, he was asking me to bring my kid at work so that I continue doing all my day. I can't do that to my kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. So I can only imagine how parents are feeling.
Yeah.
With the pressure of being present and the pressure of trying to keep everything magically glued together.
Yeah.
No, Mike feels like he's 22, not 40, because he knows it too.
I act like I'm 22. I feel like I'm 50.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He doesn't act or feel like he's 40. He acts and feels like he's 22, his mind, but his body is definitely in its 50s.
I'm not there yet, so I can't say that I'm soon.
My husband turns the big 50 this September, and I've constantly been reminding him the last couple of weeks, you're not 25 anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I'm not saying you're old. I mean, because 50 is not old, but I mean, it's not 25.
No. Well, I keep saying I'm 29 plus interests or experience. Yeah. So that I never say my age.
Yeah. Chris, that's true. I agree that I mean, honestly, the big dream, we would love it if my husband could retire 100%. And then we could even do more with homesteading, but that's just not feasible.
I think
that's
the part that we find the hardest. And that's one of the things I would definitely recommend to people is if you're going into it and you can't both do not working outside the home, it's really Chris works full time. And it's hard because he's got to do 9 to 5 or sometimes 9 to 6, and he's away from home on some days. And then he gets the weekend, and it's harder work than what he's done all week because everything has to be done on the weekend that I couldn't do by myself during the week. So it is hard work. If you're, that's something, I know it's a question that was coming later, but that's something I would certainly recommend people with thinking about, when you get into this is don't bite off more than you can chew. If it's just one person kind of doing all the work, make sure you stay in that realm of, because it like you said, it needs to be enjoyable. You have to still feel passionate about it, and that can disappear if it's too much pressure.
I'm excited to see too, because I start my job in a little bit. And so I'm very thankful it's at home. But when the one thing I do miss when I have my career was that people or my routine, I was way more productive. I do like that I'm in a slower pace now, but I'm always feeling like I could do more. And so I'm looking forward to seeing, because it's a really great schedule and it's no weekends or anything. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how much more productive I can be. I'll let you know.
Yeah. I will say that I have discovered that I kind of set up a little schedule for myself just for a few things. Like, for instance, I make Mondays all editing day. I edit all my videos on Mondays, no matter what. It was a little bit harder because my mom is here, but so I've been kind of catching up a little bit. But and it's working for me. I find it's working for me, and it's a long day, but at least I get them done. And then I have the rest of the week where I don't have to worry about those darn videos. Because if not, I was 2 or 3 weeks behind, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get these caught up. So
the filming part is fun. The editing can get like
not fun.
well, it depends. It depends. If it's like a how-to video, those are long to edit.
Yeah.
Like cut, like, and you have to switch. And now, like, you have to be interesting. So you have like to have 2 views of the same thing that you're doing so that you keep the viewer like occupied all the time. And he or she does not click off. So like you have all of those things in your mind. But if you're doing a vlog and you're just like doing a garden tour, those are not long to edit.
And I will say I like the creativity. It gives me too a bit, because that kind of helps that. Like I like, oh, I love the song, I'm going to put this in here. And, because, I do like the creativity that it brings. It's just, it's certainly not as enjoyable as making the video.
I often find editing is getting done at 11 o'clock at night too, which is awfully hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
That's why we like the winter, right? Because it's like, oh, it's dark. Okay, well, even if I did it 3 hours from now, it's still only going to be 7:30.
Exactly.
Exactly. So no, I was just reading Lindsay's comment that they did that for years. Jack was gone home and I was gone 12 to 16 hours a day. Yeah, that's a long day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to try and get to a couple more. It's almost 10 and I know it's school's out for me, but I've been up. I didn't sleep well last night, so I pretty much up since 4 o'clock this morning. So there's just one we'll go back to that one. I guess we would, the one question I want to ask, if you were all single, because we all are with married or significant others, whatever you want to call them, would you still homestead if it was just you? Just yourself, maybe, you have your own little place, and
I
would
probably
you still do
would, but probably not to the extent that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Unless I was monetized somehow, because I'm not, I would have to work. So it's kind of hard to answer that question for me. But if I could, I would.
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably have like this like summer garden where like I have fresh fruit, like fruits and vegetable, and then maybe can a little bit, buying bulk instead of raising it all on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could, I would, depending where I would be.
Yeah, like same here. Actually, ever since the thing with the log splitter, it makes you think, because Mike has to pick up on a lot of the chores now. I can do quite a bit still, but I can't use a lot of this hand yet. And so it makes you think, like, he was there for the accident. He was there to take me to the hospital. So if I was single and I didn't have a significant other, I would probably want a partner, at least like somebody there with me, especially as rural as we are. So if I could do it closer to town, and still have some property and stuff, I definitely, it's a way of life for me. So I want to do it, but you're also your eyes are open to some things that could happen. And, so I mean, I could have called 911 at the same time, but they're also half an hour away. So, there are some things like I definitely would want to, but there are some things to consider if you're doing it alone. But yeah, I would.
Wise, like you have to have some like a backup.
That's a good point, Angie. Yeah, about being safe. Yeah, if you're on your own, that is one. Yeah.
Well, I have neighbors next to me. So
do I give the honest answer that I said earlier when we went through your questions? I said no. I would be the same thing. I couldn't afford to homestead if I was single. I mean, a mortgage and paying for feed, or even just, I would have a garden. I would have that, but I don't know if I necessarily would term that as homesteading, because odds are I couldn't afford a farm. I would be a smaller in town. It would hinge on so many things, because if I had kids or single parenting, I couldn't imagine. You're just trying to make ends meet at that point. I love canning. I would probably still buy a lot of food to can and preserve, because I love having that security. But would I make the effort and have the time to actually grow it and do it myself? I don't know. I also, and I'm somewhat ashamed to say this, but I don't kill anything. So as far as livestock, I would probably have chickens for eggs, but I wouldn't have the other stuff because it would just keep multiplying and multiplying because I can't deal with it. So on that sense, I mean, that side of it would definitely disappear for me. But I love the lifestyle. I just also recognize my inabilities on certain things that on my own, I go back to before Chris and I were together. I had a small garden and we had chickens. That's it. We were on 1.5 acres and that worked for us. So, I might be in that situation, but I'm going up and beyond that. As much as I have this ultimate goal of being self-sufficient and being able to, now grow all my own food, that has changed a lot because of my relationship and where we are as a family unit. So looking back at what I was before Chris, it was never a consideration for me. So I probably would end up back there. Just to be honest, I mean, I love the lifestyle now, but on my own, I didn't.
Well, maybe Stephanie, if we ever become single, we can, work out a deal.
We'll start a community.
Will you show me your bedroom then?
I was going to say, being single, and if you want to homestead, I would build a community first. Like, have like
look at Chris. We're going to get rid of all you boys now. Bye.
Yeah.
And by having a community, like you meet different skill sets that you don't have, and they would be able to help you out or point you in the direction of the person that could help you. Mm-hmm. And that would be the only way that I would be able to do it on my own. Like, I can't do anything that's like infrastructure. Like, I don't even think my father showed me how to use a drill when I was young. So I would have to learn it, or someone would have to show it to me to make it happen. So building a community would be like my number one before even starting anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I would still, but like, obviously I think I'd have 1 or 2 chickens because like I'd have to work full time, and when I worked full time, we actually got rid of the chickens for a while because both of us working full time, it was too much, and it was just chickens. So I can't imagine working 2 full-time jobs and having everything else. I would have a small garden, but probably not enough that I could can. I'd have to, go out to farmer markets or whatever. I just picture myself as one of those women with the long peasant dress skirts and the necklaces and the headband, I have herbs drying everywhere. People would think, oh, that's the local Wiccan down the road. Like, that's what I picture I would be if I was single, bracelets up to my elbow.
It's so funny though, because going through and answering that question also makes me realize some of the skills that I need to develop, because heaven forbid, you don't know what situation could arise. And, I like this lifestyle
I can't kill anything either. We want to do meat chickens. We're going to start off slow and do a couple, but truth of the matter is David's going to have to do that part of it. Cause I just know I can't.
I was going to say, well, have you ever, I know Stephanie, you guys have the chickens. Annie, you do meat birds too.
Yeah.
So I don't do the killing, but I do the cleaning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do part, like I raise them.
Yes. Yeah.
He harvests them.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that actually takes, I don't like saying this, but takes the life. And then whatever he needs me to do, like usually I'm, when you have to dip it in the water, I dip that. And then he puts we do 3 or 5 in a row. And then he does the plucker. And then I finish off I remove the feathers. He empties them because my hands are super small. And I tried, and I make a terrible job out of it. So he's the one that does it. And I'm the one that takes care of rotation of the freezers, packing them, and then putting.
Yeah.
Mainly, I would say it's him, but I'm there.
Yeah. David has experience. he grew up hunting and helped his grandfather with pigs when it came to that. Like David has a little bit more, skill set for that. But I absolutely will. Once he gets everything out, I don't mind even helping with the plucking and things like that. But the actual, it would be hard for me because I get very attached.
Yeah. There's a course that's actually up by me. One of our neighbors is doing it in the fall, and they're doing basically taking you from start to finish of the whole process, and they're showing like how to package them, how to butcher them, all that stuff. So I think I've done it before. Mike's done it before, but just because I've never had any other hands-on experience, I think I want to go and do that. It's like I think a day trip or something like that. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people do it in the States. I don't know if anybody's interested in Ontario, but
I think that would be a good way to start, because our first harvesting, we only watched YouTube videos.
Yeah, same here. That's why I was like, I'm going to go,
And like we had Joel Salatin, we watched Justin Rhodes, and I can't remember the third. And like he watched also in French because he mainly understands French. And like we kind of like knew what we were doing. So the first 5 was like not good. It didn't go well. But like after a while, like you can't hesitate. Like you can't like, oh my God, am I doing that? Like you have to do it. Like you can't think twice. Yeah. Like you're hurting more the animal if you're hesitating. Yes. And the quicker you do it, the less painful it is for the animal. Cause like we're deciding to do this because mainly like obviously like for the meat purpose, but we want the animal to suffer the like as least as possible. Mm-hmm. So having a hands-on course where you're followed by someone harvesting an animal up till the end, I would have went. It would have been like,
well, for me, it's getting. As much as it would bother me, I'm getting to the point where we're growing so much vegetables and stuff and things we can to be self-sufficient. And we have eggs from the chickens. I want to start a little bit more self-sufficiency with some meat too. Like something that, we all eat because
raising them is not that hard. Raising them is like maybe like you have to like there's days that it's more complicated because they're dirty birds. So you have to like do a bit of cleaning more than you would do with regular birds. There's water feed, and then like you have to add, like we do deep bedding method. And then once a week, like we clean out everything, we sanitize everything, and then we put everything back, like another deep bedding for another week. Like the raising part, once you have your operation set up, it's the harvest, because we don't have exterior kitchens. Like we have to set up. So it takes 1.5 hours to set up. You have to sanitize everything. And then once you're set up, like you do your thing, and then you have to sanitize everything, clean it, and then store it. And then when you want to do it again, you have to take it out all again. But if you had an outdoor kitchen, all you have to do is like take out your knives, wash your counter, and you're done. It's a bit time consuming when you start.
I'm laughing at Lindsay's comment because I asked her about that. All those videos with those sweet little goslings and how fun they are. Like I said, what is your plan with these? Because
are those
like she just said, they come in for hugs.
Are they?
I was gonna say, like, the one thing that I found, because we've only done meat butchering once a couple of years ago, and we want to do it again, just differently. But one of the things that I found truly amazing, some people might not look at it as that, but I did, is once you start cleaning the bird, and for me, Mike does the neck thing, but once it becomes the part where you clean, it looks like, for me, it's nothing but meat. The attachment is completely gone. And I found that really, really weird, because I thought for sure I was going to be attached. Once he did the butchering, I was completely fine. And the switch in my mind was just like, it was awesome for me, because I was really afraid of that stage.
The bigger animals, I find a little bit more difficult. Like we did the sheep ourselves, and that was a bit different, but at least we did it. So we have the experience and we know we can if we had to. But I think that's something that just dealing with it was not the same as dealing with the smaller stuff. So, I mean, we kind of concluded that they'll go to the butcher, but at least we know we can do it if we have to.
Had to, yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a little bit more tricky for me too.
I've only harvested rabbits and chickens, so I could not speak with bigger. And if I had the chance to raise bigger, I tend to get attached to cute things. So
I will tell you, our sheep are not cute.
No, well, if I was to raise animal for meat, if ever I do have a dream farm one day, I'm not sure what animal I would raise. Obviously, pig, because we eat a lot of pork. Like cute little things like lambs. I'm not sure I would be able to do that. Like obviously cow, but we've never eaten like other types of meat, like beef, chicken, fish, ducks. But like lamb is like something we like really eat in like.
And I've never had it.
I've never had it either.
Like I know it probably tastes awesome, but like it was not something that was brought up with. So
I've never had rabbit either. So
well, rabbit is it's a tricky
it's just not
meat.
Something I grew up with.
You have to like you can't hesitate because it's like a very lean meat. So like the kill has to be done like the correct way. And the undressing part is a bit tricky, but the meat has to be not overcooked or it's going to be like sand. It has to be like in juice, like an not Instant Pot, the other one,
pressure cooker.
And I wanted
to not the pressure cooker, the other one,
crock pot.
That's it. It has to be done in the crock pot.
Yeah. Oh, Abby, I think what it is too is I can, like my philosophy is that you can raise animals, you can love them, and you can name them, and the very least we can do is make sure they're treated well for what they're going to give us, which is to feed us, right? So as hard as it is to get attached, we should. Because the animals should feel, they should be treated well because, they are a living being and they are going to feed us. So that's how we kind of look at it. Like we can treat an animal well because a lot of people, I know Living Traditions, Sarah and her husband, a lot of people say, how do you name all the animals? Right. And she's like, we name them because we believe that they can have a great life before they give their lives to feed us. And
well, if you don't have kids, if you don't have young kids, that philosophy is good.
Grace.
But if you have kids, oh God.
See, our kids never had an issue with it. They name everything and they know that it ends up on the table in 6 months.
We had
they never have an issue. They just
our son would be okay with it.
Yeah.
Our son would be okay with it, but our daughter, like if we raised rabbits and said, okay, she would never eat them. She would probably be traumatized the day we had to do something with them. Like that's just her. And to be fair, she's never been around it. Like she's already almost 19, so like she's never had to deal with that. So she doesn't even eat pig anymore. She doesn't eat pork. And it's not because she doesn't love bacon. It's because she just can't because of the pig.
Because it was alive.
I say, you're missing out so much.
We no longer eat rabbit because of my kids get like they get attached to the litters and they would name them all like before I even realized. And one day they came back from school and the litter was gone. Oh my God. We had one of the worst nights with the kids. Like they were uncontrollable. They were so mad at us. And even my husband said after like we sat down that night, we're like, he even told me he had a hard time harvesting rabbits because they're too cute. Like they're cute. And you have to hold them and like you kind of get attached to them because they're lovable creatures. But chickens, he's like, I have no problems with chicken. Like, bring me ducks, bring me chicken, bring me turkeys. I have no problem. They're not Cute.
Turkeys I have no problem with because I hate turkeys and they hate me. So I have no problems doing it with the like raising the turkey. I have no problem.
They get big. Turkeys get big.
It's just no matter if we go to a petting zoo and the darn thing is loose, it finds me and it knows I don't like it. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't know what it is with turkeys. I've never been mean to one. I cook a mean turkey, but I just can't get over turkey. That's one animal I probably would not have a problem.
I only raise turkeys every 2-3 years. But these little buggers, when they get old, like around butchering time, they attack me. I'm like, you're going in freezer, you little
Yeah.
The one thing I would suggest with the rabbits, just I know because it's something like I know Angie's mentioned, maybe we'll try rabbit. Other people have mentioned it as well. But the one thing that we find works awesome as a trick is get a rabbit that's a uniform breed. All our rabbits look identical. You can't tell the difference between who's who, and neither can the kids. And you know what?
Okay,
they love it because the babies are cute, and then they grow into the adult, and they can't tell who anybody is, and they go to the next litter of babies and love all them, and all the adults can go because they don't like them anymore. But because they're all uniform, when they're in the litter together, they can't name them. Because they all look the same. You can't tell who's who.
I had that.
They still cuddle them all, and they're all friendly because I sell a lot of them, right? So I want them to be friendly for that purpose. So that's the kid's job. Your job is to make the animals friendly. That's the kid's job across the homestead. And they love it. But it is one of those things. There's almost a detachment because you can't tell who anybody is. So it's like, oh, am I cuddling Jim? I don't know. It might be Jim. It might be Bob. I don't know.
Mine were all white, and the kids had a way of like, oh, this one's this one. I'm like, what? They're all white. They're all the same. How can you tell? Oh, this one has this different. I'm like, I think that's in your head, but that's fine. Whatever floats your boat. If this one is Bob, okay.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna skip a bunch of questions. I'm just gonna go to my last one tonight, and hopefully we can. This has been fun, so I really hope we can do this. This will be more often. My one question I have for you is, what are your goals for the future with your homestead?
Oh God. Well.
Oh, that's an easy question, Lynn.
No, it's because this year. Well, you're gonna see it on my channel anyways. This year is actually a year of change for me. I've decided that I was going to slow down on many things. Like I've wanted this self-sufficiency life for a very long time, and I've almost acquired it last year. But it cost me so much. Like it cost me my time, it cost me my mental health. And like, you're not supposed to bite more than you can chew. So my mouth is full. So my goal this year is to dodge down, figure out what works. And then if we want, my dream would be to move and have a bigger farm and have more space where I can have infrastructure. Oh, she probably by accident closed. She's probably gonna come back.
Her internet.
Like have this instead of having everything crammed together, have more space and have something that's more manageable than what I have now. Now I have market style garden that's 30-inch wide with 18 inches of pathways. I can't bring the tractor inside the garden, so I have to haul buckets of compost, and my garden is almost 40 by 40, like the in-ground garden. So I have to fill buckets, and then I have to bring them inside the garden, and then add compost twice a year. So I need to dodge it down before I can see further in my journey. So this is where I am on my homestead. Did you do it? Oopsie. Oh, she's frozen.
Nope.
Steph?
I think Steph, are you still there? She drops out again. I know I'm pushing the limits for my internet too, but and Annie, I totally get what you're saying. I actually, at the beginning of the year, I had so many other ideas of what we were going to do. And then March and April and May came. And then June, and we had to, and I fell into the trap. And I'm always preaching about, you can't do everything at once. You can't do everything at once. And I fell into the trap of trying to do everything at once.
Yeah.
And that kind of is like keeping up with the Joneses thing. For me, Angie, when you're talking earlier, that's where I was falling down into that trap of trying to keep up with everything on the YouTube.
Well, what made me see the red flag was I got COVID.
Oh yeah, that really knocked you out.
I was on my butt. The virus itself was manageable. Like I was sick for one day and I had maybe a rough patch of 5 days. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the recuperating, the after.
Right.
I was not even able to go outside in my garden and work till 2:00 in the afternoon without crashing. And I had COVID around Easter. And it's the most important time of the year. So I was pushing. And then I hit exhaustion at 3:00 in the afternoon. I actually canceled my plant sale this year because I was mentally shot. And I was I have to recuperate before the season. So maybe if I didn't get the virus, maybe I would not be having this conversation. Maybe I would say, oh, I have this. But I'm realizing that I'm biting more than I can chew.
Yeah.
And I have no time to do other stuff. I know that this is the crunch of the season, obviously, but I'm supposed to be able maybe an hour a week to do something I want other than homesteading.
Right.
And I was never taking the time to do that. So,
because as much as you love it, you can love something and still need, an hour or two. That's not it.
Yeah. I want to start training again. I want to start crocheting during the summer. I know it's I'm only going to maybe have an hour here and there, but I never took the time. Before it was homestead.
See, I've been crocheting every evening for the last 2 months. That's how I wind down from the day. That's how I try and catch up on my YouTube and I crochet for an hour or two. I'm so far behind.
Right. Yeah. For me, well, I put out a video I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer. And we let go. It was time to let go of some things. So we let go of the garden that I really, really was stressing about to get put in this year, but it won't be till next year. So letting it go once I did was an awesome feeling. We sold 2 of our goats. We're still trying to sell 2 more. And we'll see how it is at that point. But to keep it short and simple, getting the house done, because that is really our only goal right now. I really miss a home. I've noticed, I thought about it not too long ago, within the last couple of months, where I used to be the girl that, if I was bored, I would make some salves, or I would plant some stuff, or play with dirt, or tend to my plants, or whatever. I would do all the typical homesteading stuff that people think of, and I haven't been able to do it because we're in a trailer and all of our stuff is packed away. And so getting back to making things from scratch is very important to me too. So getting the house done. I said I was going to be short and sweet with that, but that's the only goal that I really want to see accomplished this year. And if that gets done, which we're hoping it will, then we're good. And then after that, then I'll put on a list 10 miles long, because I'll have.
No, I think that is a good goal to have. And I think sometimes just finally admitting you need to let something go is the hardest part, because when you finally do it, it feels great. But just getting to that point, and part of that is my stubbornness. Because I think for me this year, I'm trying not to prepare from fear. I'm trying to prepare from wisdom, as Jessica at 3 Rivers Homestead says. I love her. I watch her a lot. But I've been preparing more from fear. I am concerned about what this winter is going to bring. I don't think it's going to be better. I don't think supply chain's going to be better. I think prices are going to we went out today for the first time to have to buy shampoo and things, because I like to have a little stockpile of that too. And then when I'm only down to 1, we go buy more. I can't get over how much shampoo has gone up in the last 3 or 4 months. Like I was like bowled over. I was like, what? Like absolutely gobsmacked. I could not believe how much it was. That threw me for a loop. So yeah, I've been feeling a lot of pressure to make sure the garden was like extra producing this year. Because we need all this, I gotta.
Yeah, but you need to be healthy to maintain it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm usually I go hunt
every day. I'm not seeing flowers on my tomato plants yet. Yeah. I'm not seeing this. They're dying. They're dead. They're not going to produce. And of course, today they're all full of flowers. And I did all my little shaking, and I'm exhausted mentally.
Well, that's like I took the decision last week. It was one of the hardest decisions I had to take because we're actually considering stopping raising some of our meat. And like my husband doesn't really is not really involved in the homestead, but we have conversation and obviously he's like, well, if we don't have a second batch of meat birds to harvest in the fall, well, we might be able to take a family trip that we haven't done in 5 years.
Yeah.
So yes, I feel what you're saying. I feel the pressure of all hell breaking loose in the next couple of months and the prices of going completely cuckoo. So when I go to the grocery store, I'm going to buy frozen vegetables. Yes, I know it's not my broccoli. It's not my cauliflower. It's not my peppers, but I'm going to dehydrate them or leave them in my fridge, in my freezer. And then if ever all I have in my garden did not work, well, then I will already be prepared. So I try to keep a $10 budget or $15 budget every week. And I just, in case my garden does not produce enough, well, I'll have something. And since it's frozen and let's just say my garden does produce, I'll take those bags and I'll just simply dehydrate them and I'll just store them in my pantry. So since I've made that decision, I'm so relieved.
Yes, it's making the decision that's the tough part. But once
it is. Yeah.
Because I was doing everything I'm doing now so that I can have better quality food. But in one of my videos that's going to be published soon, I'm going to say, but what will it cost you? At what cost? If you lose yourself in the process, well, then you're not doing homesteading for the right reasons. You're supposed to do homesteading for the right reasons and letting go. And I was inspired by Angie's video and also just letting go was almost therapy. Now when I go in the garden, I feel good. I don't feel oh my God, I have to do this.
Balance is peace. That is so, that it is. It's a peace of mind. That's so true, Jean. And for me, my husband has to rein me in because my brain never stops. I'm always thinking of what the next thing I want to do and more. So, and my husband's there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many days in the week. There's only so much money. There's only so much of everything. So, because I would be I'd probably be very overwhelmed right now and cursing everything because, if he hadn't, because we were going to do honeybees this year too. And that giving that up hurt because I've been researching and wanting to do it for 2 years now. I've read books, I've taken seminars, I've done everything. And then to have to make the decision because part of it is fear because we had 90% of the local bee people here in our area lost their bees this year.
It's not the time to have bees. It's not the time. There's so many things going on.
And I was
until there's regulations about everything that's being sprayed.
Yeah, I just thought that's just too much. I mean, that's to put all your time and effort and energy just to have them fail. I just couldn't do that.
Did you guys have that in May? Here in Quebec, everyone was not mowing their lawns. Well, everyone that was educated on the subject did not mow their lawns until June 1st so that the dandelions can feed the bees. Did you guys have that?
We personally did it. I don't know about the tan.
Here at on social media, people were advertising it you need to leave. If you don't want to like have your entire lawn covered. Like just keep a patch so that the bees, when they get out, they have food, because we are worried for the bee population. And he was like, everywhere in Quebec, people were doing that. Like my neighbor had like a 100 feet by 10 feet wide, full of dandelions. And I was like, yay! And I was leaving mine. And when I was harvesting for dandelion tea and dandelion syrup, I was always making sure that I was leaving some behind so that the bees would be safe. So if they're saying this, it's because I'm hoping what I'm saying is not true, but almost too late.
I don't know about any of you, but I haven't seen hardly. We've seen 2 dragonflies. I actually found 3 true ladybugs in my garden today. That's the first ones I found. Like the true
all the dragonflies.
ladybugs.
I was gonna say all the dragonflies. They're up here.
The dragonfly is the one that's like that has like a long body and like
Yes.
I have a lot of those.
We've only seen 2, like literally 2, and I've seen just 1 or 2 bumblebees when I was collecting the dandelions, because even on one of my videos, I'm even talking to the bumblebee. I'm like, don't worry, I'm going to leave those ones for you. You know? But that it's sad. Like we're not seeing them this year.
I have a lot of bugs. I have like the good pollinators.
I have a lot of
bugs. I have even the cucumber beetles. Even if you're killing their plant, they're still pollinating some of your plants. So
yeah,
I have a lot of those.
I was just so happy to see those ladybugs today because I have not seen them. And I'm like, yes, go eat all the bad bugs. Go, 3 little ladybugs.
Get all the aphids.
Yeah, I have a lot of aphids this year. Jean has a good point. If you can catch wild bees, that would be a good thing for you.
I've seen a few people trying to do that. There was actually a swarm not too far from me that someone said, hey, if anyone knows what they're doing, like on the local bee group I'm on, there's a wild swarm on this address if someone wants to come get them. But I don't know. Just looking, she's saying Little House in the Big Woods says they've seen a lot of butterflies. That's the other thing. I've seen 1 monarch so far. 1.
Last year, I had a lot. This year, I think I saw 1.
Yeah, Jean, people don't realize. Oh, yeah, we have lots of mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah. This year is a year of records for mosquitoes. They actually come out during the day. They have the nerves to come out during the day.
Yep, they are bad this year. And black flies. Our black flies were bad this year. And Angie, I know in one of your videos, yours were awful.
Not this year. But our first year we were, there was one video, like, I guess now that I'm used to them, they don't seem that bad, but we get like a week. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter, where it's like, you just don't go outside. You just don't.
Yeah.
And we did get about a week, but from the temperature going up, down, up, down.
It's the video after the storm.
Yes.
The video after the storm?
The video just after your short video that you the video you published about the storm.
Mm-hmm.
The video after that, like you're showing
the black flies
after effects of
and
the
Mike
storm.
And
Mike is like trying to survive the attack of the mosquitoes while you're filming.
I don't remember. I remember we did one part of a video, but it was before the storm. But now I got to go see what you mean.
Yeah.
But
this whole year has been
wrong, but I think it's
weird.
The one after the storm.
Okay.
I'm dealing with chipmunks for the first time. I've never had to deal with the chipmunks like I've had this year ever. Maybe because everything in our yard is organic, so they're like leaving everybody else's properties. I mean, that might be part of it. I've never seen them as bad. The blackbirds, the starlings, they are atrocious here this year. It's crazy, and they're destructive, and they're messy, and they're just bullies. Dealing with them all day, so we're dealing with them. And it's just weird. It's a lot of stuff this year that I don't usually. I will say this year was the best year we've ever had for dandelions. Like when we moved to this property, we didn't have dandelions for 2 years. Never saw them.
Yeah, well, people spray.
And we actually had to buy earthworms to throw into our gardens the first 2 years because there was none. digging up my garden this year to see like one little patch of dirt had like 20, 25 earthworms in it. I'm like,
Well, at least
oh,
we know
all
your
of our
soil.
work we've been doing
Yeah.
is paying off because we had no bugs, we had no earthworms, nothing in this dirt here for 2 years. We would we'd go to the bait store and buy worms and bring them back to throw them in the garden so it would be healthy. So
I have cedar hedge around my house, and the main birds that we see is the blue one, the
blue jay.
Yeah, those are very territorial, as I was told. And I also see the red one, cardinal.
Yep,
but not as much.
I've got a cardinal pair that had babies, and they had a boy and a girl, and they've been bringing them to the feeders to teach them how to feed. You know, like it is amazing to watch.
I also have pigeons. Awesome. This year
we have pigeons in the city, but
I'm not seeing those big black birds, probably because of the blue jays, because since they're very territorial and they fight a lot. Like I see them fight.
Yeah, they're bullies too. They'll chase people out of the bird feeders, but the starlings
I keep them happy with all my sunflowers. Sunflowers for me are sacrificial plants. Like everyone's like, "Oh my God, you love sunflowers! You grow so many beautiful sunflowers." They're sacrificial plants for me. Squirrels, every bird, like they love my sunflowers and they leave everything else.
I've never had the squirrels bother them, or even the birds. I will say,
the squirrels.
I have so many. I have literally hundreds, like last year, and I've got hundreds this year. So if I don't think they can get them all, but I give them to the chickens. Like I save a bunch for next year to grow, and then the chickens get a lot of ours. So they love them.
No, I actually see the squirrels tag team to remove those mammoth-sized sunflowers, like the huge one. I see them tag team to leave with the head. I'm like, I can't stop them. Like they're working in teams, and it's like they're really working hard for that head of sunflower. So I'm like,
you know what?
I feel cruel.
You're working so hard, just go get it.
So I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave it to you guys. But the day that you start playing with my tomato plants, that's the day. No more sunflowers for you.
The chipmunks, they dug up all my green and yellow beans this year. Dug them all up and just left them as all around. I don't know why they've never done that before. I've replanted green and yellow beans 4 times now.
Oh, God.
So... yeah.
No, I didn't.
Not happy.
No, I didn't. Well, I specifically choose the crops that I have outside my fence garden. And I have a 5 feet fence. Like my 35 by 40 garden is like it's 5 feet tall. And the only thing I see in there are cats. They have a way of like going on a tree and then going, but they're not doing anything bad to my garden. Okay, for my raised bed gardens, now I actually found out that they use the box when it's empty as litter box. Mm-hmm. So that means next year I can't put root crops in my raised beds. So I'm going to have to put them in my in-ground and add couple of feet of like not barbed wire but like something so that the cats doesn't go in my in-ground garden so I don't have like parasites or anything.
That's one of the reasons I hated living where we were living in military housing, because people let their cats go everywhere and we would find them in my garden. Mm-hmm. And they did use my garden. So Holla Abby, I will say a lot of my sunflower leaves are like totally chewed up. Like there's just some, and I've tried, and there's just so many sunflowers, but it must be the aphids or something, because they are enjoying the leaves like crazy.
Aphids are loving my chamomile this year.
Oh.
And it's one of the most important plants in my garden.
My chamomile's not growing. This is my first year ever. I maybe it's aphids. Maybe, I don't know. But
how can I describe it? You're gonna see a ton of ants on your plant. If you're looking at your stem, like the tallest point of your flowers.
I don't even have that far. They didn't even. They're just like they're not growing.
Oh, that's weird. Like
Yeah.
aphids is literally like, it's all like, you're going to see the stem, and all around the stem, you're going to have like this weird looking like black thing. And then you're going to see like ants farming the aphids. So the ants are farming those little things. So
Okay.
it's kind of like they're doing a lot of work, but
I'm just glad I harvested so much chamomile last year that I still have a ton of dried flowers, so I'll be able to do my stuff with them this year.
It's been the second year that aphids have been invading my plants. I have like to top them and then like kill the aphids. I'm like, come on, I need chamomile this year.
Yeah.
Gardening would be so much easier without the bugs.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's Jessica Sowers that says this. If the pests don't eat your food, I would ask myself questions.
Yep.
If there's a cabbage that there's no little holes in them, I would actually not eat it.
No,
if it was in my garden.
Yep.
I would wonder why no one wants to chew it. Kind of. Tomato, I can, like, if someone chews my tomato, I'm obviously going to give it to a chicken. But if I don't like have like some bugs in every single aspect of my garden, I would ask myself questions.
I was dealing with cucumber beetles on my guacamelons. They're finally growing now and starting to climb up the little thing I gave them, but like I'm hoping it's gonna. We have a lot of moss too. Yeah, we have.
This year I'm invaded with. I've always been invaded with vine borers, which is a moth.
I was hoping Steph was going to be able to come back on, but I think she's having problems with her internet. So,
I'm not seeing her better half in the comments either.
No, So I think the last thing I saw was him saying technical difficulties. At 10:18. So I think their internet's down. So, I know mine's been acting up all night. Trying to do this. So, and of course it's been wonderful all week. And then tonight it decides so it's getting late. So I'm going to wrap it up.
I was just going to say, I have to get up early in the morning because we have to go to the doctor.
Right. Yeah. So Angie, I'll say a prayer that everything goes well and you're going to heal quick and they'll get you situated. And thank you. Ladies, for coming on, and I really I want to do it again. I still had like a few more questions, and I'll probably have more.
We can do like maybe every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'd love to come on and talk, and we all have so much to say and share, and we all have a passion, and I think it's great, and I think talking too about it's okay to not do everything.
Yes, knowing you're not alone in that is is relieving on itself too.
Yeah, because sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, aren't we? We're just so darn hard on ourselves.
Well, society does not help. Like we feel the pressure of being perfect, like perfect household, perfect mom, perfect woman, perfect this, perfect that, and then we are perfect, worst,
just the way you are.
Exactly.
No, I know, but we are in the end our worst enemy because we're the one putting the pressure on ourselves. And once we figure that out, like we're halfway there.
Yes.
Yeah. And Paul, Abby, I just want to say real quick, we had a terrible problem with them last year. They've killed quite a few of our trees. We've seen a few here, but everyone around me sprayed with BTK. And I think that's why we're not seeing them a lot here. They just wanted too much money to do it because BTK is a natural thing. So that didn't bother me.
You can get that at Home Hardware and get a sprayer. Oh, you did?
I sprayed like my little apple trees and my like things I knew I wanted to protect, but I knew we couldn't do our whole property. Like they wanted a lot of money to come to our whole property. And then it turns out like literally 4 neighbors this way, 3 neighbors that way, they all did it. So I think it helped.
There you go.
Yeah.
It probably brought the population down.
Yes, I think it did. And we have the traps to put out actually this month that catches the male moths and traps them. And we've got 5 of them to put all over the property. So we got to put those out. I guess that's going to go on the list for this weekend.
The never ending list.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for coming. And I just want to slowing down is not a failure. It is not. That is true. It's not a failure. So guys, have a great week.
Bye everyone.
And
Angie, send me some news tomorrow.
And I just want to get you guys' feelings real quick. How sad are we that there's no conference next year?
For now,
I get it. I totally get it, and I even told her that I understand why they that was a lot of work.
I think we all need to get together and talk or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like maybe trying to still set up something where we can meet maybe someplace or something. So
well, if there's no conference, I think we should like find something somewhere somehow to do a picnic and just like get together.
Okay.
But like obviously,
not all meet in Hawaii. We can all meet in Hawaii.
Okay. That would be hard. No, when I saw the post, I still can't wrap my head around it. Like,
yeah, I understand. I'm not surprised. I wasn't 100% surprised when I saw that because I kind of had a feeling, and it was a lot for her and her husband, and like they did lose, a lot of time. Well,
it has to be done with by a committee. First of all, she can't do it on her own. If
I think one person doing it was a huge undertaking. Yeah.
If there's 5 heads doing it, you can delegate, and then like multiple people can call because like she has her homestead, she has her life. I'm not sure if her husband works, but like she has a life. And then she had to speak to every vendor, book every vendor, and blah blah blah. So
advertise and but we'll still try. Oh, there we go. We have a volunteer. Hala Abby said that they volunteered their homestead if we want to meet in the fall, like they originally suggested. So
we shall see. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. I have to see where I'm at the farm.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know where they are. Because I would love
45 minutes east of me.
So they're further for me.
Yep.
Yeah, it would.
Once our house is done too, if we want it, Mike was even like, "We'll do a yearly thing." And I'm like, "Whoa, there, little buddy. We have a house to build first, and then after that, we'll see.
We'll see."
Because we're in a great spot where if people brought their ATVs and stuff, there's a private beach, like 15 minutes. Nobody's ever there during the week, like there's lots of different little things like that, and nature trails and all that. If people wanted to camp, they can. So. It definitely won't be next year, but
no.
But like you're 3 hours and 15 minutes away from me, so I would have to camp.
Yeah,
and spend the night. And for me, with my 5-year-old son, with everything going on at my house, unless there's like a big drastic change when he goes to school in September and he goes full time, crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
Unless there's a drastic change, for me to actually sleep over now is impossible. So it has to be under 3 hours because like I haven't driven that long.
Drive faster. If it's 3:15, drive faster. You're on back roads near me. You can do it. 2:45.
It's there 2.5 or 2 hours and 15 minutes. So
I'm supposed to reach your house in one piece, not in two or multiple pieces.
All right. Great. You guys have a great week. And Angie, give us a quick update when you can. Let us know how you're doing.
I will. I've almost finished the video, and then I'll put the update, and then I can message you guys too. But for everyone else, it should be out this week.
Okay. Well, take care, everyone.
All right, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.